Okay, so I guess that timer didn't work. Good morning, or good night, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Chew Stream, where we talk about art and life as an artist. I'm your host, Bobby Chew. Okay, so this week's image is this beautiful painting by Alexandra Jacob, French illustrator, French painter, just gorgeous stuff. I really loved the color combinations in this. And so that was what I really want to explore for this week. Okay, so go ahead and start your illustration as well based off of this image. I did an exact copy, okay, but you have 90 minutes to create this art challenge here. Complete an illustration in 90 minutes based on the image given, which was you can find the link to that image in the video details below, okay? And of course, if you have any questions, I'm using Zoom today. Join the Zoom webinar. Link is in the description of this video, okay? It just makes everything so much easier because I will have everything in Zoom. And of course, you can feel free to watch this on YouTube. All right. So here we go. Here is my painting, okay? And while we do that, I also wanted to mention portfolio reviews. This is the last time for a while that I'll be doing free portfolio reviews, okay? Yeah, Lightbox Expo stuff is really ramping up really quickly. So my schedule has turned absolutely insane and I need to focus in. Okay, so this Thursday, another free portfolio webinar. This will be the last one for a while. And if you've seen any of the other portfolio reviews that I've done, webinars that I've done, I really make sure to have whatever I'm talking about this, certain portfolio, to make it applicable to everyone. So even if you don't get chosen, it's totally fine. Come join in because, hey, there's lots of times where people will ask questions that completely pertain to you or have issues with their paintings and drawings that totally apply to you, but you just didn't think about it, you just didn't know, that kind of stuff. So it's been really very helpful for everybody. A lot of this demonstration here, it's not really a demonstration. This is just me just training, just exploring, investigating. A lot of it, you'll see I'm trying colors, I'm changing colors because that's my focus today, okay? And your focus could be anything. Your focus could be very much using the same colors, but perhaps changing the context completely. For me, I was just so enamored by the colors of this painting that I really just wanted to dive in and just copy it. Okay, so of course, let me bring out all of my Zoom stuff. So if you have any questions, you could feel free to, if you are in Zoom anyhow. Oh, I have 0 attendees in my Zoom. What am I doing wrong? You know what? Last time I didn't even know how to turn that thing on. So maybe I'll just also bring out, yeah, I'll also bring out Slido. Let's do that. Just give me 1 second here. Slido. I can see myself starting to sketch here. You can see kind of like the mode that I'm going in. It is not trying to, be too accurate, right? I'm just throwing down shapes. I don't even, at this point, or actually in the study, I'm not even too concerned about how accurate these shapes are. I just want all the different elements to be in there. Right? If all the elements are in there, then I can still explore all the colors, even if some trees are slightly different shapes and things like that. All right. Okay, so for all of you online, I just activated Slido as well. If you'd like to ask me a question, you can also go to slido.com and hashtag ChewStream. Okay, as usual. Oops, what am I doing here? Yeah, things are a little bonkers today, so I'm dealing with a lot. Okay. Oh, next thing I want to mention is LightBox Expo is, it's happening. It's happening September 11th to 13th. It's getting real exciting. Can't wait to tell you guys more, but I could definitely tell you there is way over 100 guest artists that will be participating, will be hanging out in chat rooms and stuff like that. We are going to make, my intentions is to raise the bar of online events big time with Lightbox Expo. Just like the live event. Some people didn't really understand what I was going for, and it seems like the same thing this year, which makes me I just can't wait until Lightbox Expo Live, when everybody could see all the hard work that me and my buddy Jim Demnakos and my wonderful assistant Jamie and everybody else have been doing to help, make Lightbox Expo awesome. All right, let's see. Somebody's saying that that I'm not broadcasting. That's why. Let me try. That's so odd. Okay, well, thank you for that. Let me try to start up this webinar thing again. Okay, hopefully I didn't screw anything up with that. This is also why I'm using Zoom a lot, because we're going to be using it for Lightbox Expo, and I need to be very proficient with Zoom. So just give me 1 second here. Start this webinar. Yes. Great. Broadcast. Okay, broadcast. Webinar is now open to all attendees. Awesome. All right, it looks like things are working on the Zoom side of things. Thanks so much for helping me out, by the way, Anonymous. All right, so here's how it goes, everybody. In Zoom, you can ask me a question and just by typing it in the Q&A, or the more fun kind, the kind that I love, is if you would like a microphone, raise your hand. Click on the thing and raise your hand, and I'll pass you a mic. Okay. What else is going on here? Looks like that's everything I need to do. So the other interesting thing about this painting right here is the purple feeling values. It's so cool. Most of the time I was still using orange as the hue. right? Because when you surround your painting with a whole bunch of warm colors, and then you put in a bunch of gray colors, those gray colors, a lot of times they will feel like the opposite of the warm color. Right, and that kind of makes sense. If you put a painting just full of different shades of red, and then you put some gray in there, it starts to feel kind of greenish. Okay, so first question from Zoom. What's the difference between painting with color and light with Tonko House and designing with color and light with Nathan Fowkes? So painting with color and light, it starts off very much observational, very observational. You're setting up still life, little displays, painting them, and getting more and more complex to the point where you're changing the atmosphere, you're changing the lighting, you're changing the whole situation. Was it on fictional things at the end? I forget. It's been a little while. I think it is. It's on fictional stuff in the very, very end. But the whole entire idea is really understanding light and understanding how to change the light. With Nathan's course, I really felt like it was much more towards, painting for a project as opposed to learning light and color, which are both are important. And the biggest thing is that they both teach it in their own ways. And the best way to develop your own identity, the best way to get good in general, is not to learn from one person. It's to learn from many different people. Right? So a lot of people, they take Schoolism classes not because they want to learn how to paint and draw, but because they want to learn how that person paints and draws, and that's where the money is. All right. So let me just click that one off. And you can see that you can access every course on Schoolism with a subscription. Over 30 plus courses. It's $29 something a month, which is less than $1 a day. And drum roll, please. I always want to give you guys extra bits and things that is first heard here. So I'll tell you right now, this one's exciting, very exciting. Not this Monday, but next Monday, we're going to have a new course. We're going to have Ian McKegg's class come out on Monday, everybody. The drawing workout with Ian McKegg. So that's going to be highly anticipated. And I could hear somebody that was going to say something.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Bobby. I'm John Casanya. I'm 16.
Oh, fantastic. Where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
Oh, fantastic.
I'd like to know your opinion about make a study routine for art, while you have to keep studying for school and that things. I'd like to know what practice I can make now to develop more seriously, like professionals do in their art, to involve fast.
Mm. Um. First, what do you want to do?
Uh,
Like
for
you.
now, I want to do character designs for animation and environment design for games.
Okay. And if you had to pick just one, two people come to you, one wants environment design, one wants character design. What do you pick?
I would pick character design.
Okay, great. That's the first one that you're gonna concentrate on. That's what I would do. I would think I'm 16 right now. I'm gonna spend the next 2 years just on characters, and then the next 2 years after that on environments, and then bring them both in at some point as well. I would study the hell out of other people's art. Everybody that you like, look for who did they learn from, who inspired them. Try to get to the source, because nowadays everybody kind of knows all these internet artists, and they study these internet artists like myself. Maybe some people study me too, right? And they don't really think about, oh, maybe I should go study the people that Bobby studied, because that's where I think the real kind of fun knowledge is. I study a lot of people, so if you studied me, you'd have to study a lot of people. And then the other thing I would do is, if you're able, I would get a Schoolism subscription, obviously, because then I could take lessons all the time. But there's also lots of other videos that are free online that you can feel free to use. You can use a lot of these art challenges. Every art challenge, every study that I'm studying, this is the 13th week. And every study that I do, I'm doing it multiple times. I do want to say I only did this one time because I'm really stinking busy right now, but this is the first one. This is the first exploratory kind of study of Alexandra's painting here. So it's all about you right now. For you, it's all about gobbling up as much knowledge as possible. It's not about practicing to come out, for things to come out of my head as much right now, because there's nothing in your head, or there's not nothing in your head, but there's a lot less in your head right now than when you are 30. So right now we're trying to fill it up with information, knowledge, and that gives us options when we try to paint and draw. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. You have a great advantage. You're only 16 years old. If you take it seriously, you can become a phenomenal artist, which
Uh,
everybody will know. The whole world will know. Trust me. 16 years old, good for you.
thanks, Bobby.
You're welcome. That was fantastic. I love I love seeing the young people come on to the stream nowadays. Last week I had this amazing artist. I thought she was professional. And then she told me, oh, she just graduated high school. It's like, holy smokes, wow. She was part of the portfolio reviews that I did. Okay, next question here. Whoa.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Bobby. I'm on the subscription, the year one,
Oh,
and
great.
it's great. Schoolism, like it's so great. I feel like I will be on it for like lifetime or something like that.
Yay. Then we're doing a good job then. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's so many good core that I just like, I want to take this, I want to take that, but I listen to your advice, like when you do your um stream like this, I just choose one and two, and I really focus on that.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yeah, but it's hard, because the other one's just like, hey, I'm really attractive, I'm really good. Let's do this. Let's do this.
I know. And you're doing the right thing. Trust me, you are doing the right thing. That is the biggest challenge, I think, that a lot of people have nowadays, is just being able to, put those blinders on. Sometimes the ability to forget or block out is just as important as the ability to remember or concentrate. Right.
Yeah. You focus on, one thing, and get really good at that is a challenge as well. So.
And V, where are you from?
So I'm Vietnamese, but I'm living in now I'm in New York, that around that part.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm Vietnamese. Yeah,
Great.
from
Great.
Vietnam.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, so I have a question. It's just like when I do when uh when I do drawing, like after like I copy the same. I've been do it from the very first of your talent, so I do 13 of
Oh,
them.
right on. Good.
Yeah, yeah. It's awesome. I feel like I can see the improvement like after I'm really stick to it and do your all of the picture and the reference photos or the painting that you have on there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great. But the thing is, so sometimes I have a problem is I copy it, but and then do things, but then the drawing or painting coming out always like it's more saturated, or or more. It's just like more contrast than actually the the painting or
Ah, I
the
see.
photos is. Yeah. Do you have any like advice on that to help me with like
Yeah.
having yeah
Yeah, actually, I'll show you, but you'll also see it in the video. Um,
yeah
Towards the end, I just start color picking a bunch of stuff, right? Because a lot of times, so the painting right now is on the left of the screen, and this is like real time. I'm, grabbing
yeah
this document here. A lot of times, what I'll do is you just explore and you try to figure out what's going on here with this color picker. Why are these colors like that? Like this looks like, it doesn't look orange to me, right? This
yeah
color. But then it is orange, and you're like, holy smokes, and the saturation is quite high. Like,
yeah
wow, how did that happen, right? And then you try it, and you go, okay, so this is orange. This is about, halfway in
yeah
brightness, and this is about 27% saturation. And then I go over here and I go, okay, yeah, let me try that a little bit, right? Oh, wow, that does feel interesting, and you go, okay, so uh, this was about orange, this is about 27 to 30% saturated, and this is about 59% light. Okay, and then what is the background? I go, background is 91%, 46%. So the background is far more saturated. Why is that? And I start looking and I start going, what is the relationship here? Well, we are trying to say that there is atmosphere going over top of these trees, and that atmosphere is going to be grayer, less saturated. Okay, so that makes sense. The background, the sky is more saturated, the trees get less saturated. What happens when they get even closer? Let's explore, right? It's okay, it's about the same amount of saturation, less darkness, sometimes even less saturation here. Look at that. It's getting even less. Super interesting. So as it's coming closer and closer to the screen, could we say that it gets less saturated as it gets closer to the screen? It's still hovering around yellow, orange, slightly into green, and it feels extremely green. Then all of a sudden maybe we can make that rule about this particular painting, right? This universe here. As things are approaching us closer and closer, they're getting more saturated. Now, there's the theory. Let's try it out, right? Let's try to explore, and let's try to really, okay, well, if this whole entire thing, let's just start off with gray here. Not
yeah
sure I will unmute the other people right after. Oops. What did I just do here? Oh my gosh. Okay. Right, so now that I have this tone here, what if I said magenta, a crazy sky? Now this sky, I'm gonna say, yeah, about 40%, and then like around 91%. Something really bright. Okay, now it's this big, beautiful sky. Let's let's also make it slightly darker, right? And slightly warmer. So slightly warmer, slightly darker. Now, how much was it darker from here to here? Not that much. It's like about 6%, and it gets more saturated. So that's interesting. So I'm going to go to this one and go, okay, yeah. I'm just going to go slightly darker and then slightly more saturated, right? And if this is my image, then I could take this tone and then just start doing the same thing. A nice gradient. Okay, yeah, that's feeling kind of interesting. But that's not going to be the fun part. I know I'm kind of just having fun right now, V. So this is a super
That's
long
okay.
answer.
Yeah,
But
I tried to really focus on what you were saying here, so.
yeah. But yeah, I want to explore this too. So I'm going to go down to like, yeah, 27, 28%. And what we said, just about 58%, something like that, right? Now, I'm going to still keep in this range and paint in some trees. Oops. Right, and now these trees, what do they kind of feel like? They don't feel red, but they are red.
They're red, but they feel more like blue.
Yeah.
Super blue.
And then you start going, oh my God, I'm painting with red, but I'm painting blue with red. What the heck? And you're like, how did this happen? And you start exploring and exploring. And that's like the fun of studying, right? When you start to think like this, you're like, holy cow, I could do this all day.
It just blows your mind, when you just get some, when I'm studying from this painting, and I just like, oh shit, like this is like still, like you say, like still orange, but it looked like it's blue or it's purple, like grayish.
Yeah, it's awesome. I so geek out about this. I'm sure a lot of people are laughing at me right now. But so then these front trees got less saturated and went to a cooler value. Right? So if I was going to go to a cooler value, V, which direction would I go? Would I go more towards the blue? Would I go more towards the left or right?
I would go to so the tree on the front, right?
Right, these trees. I'm gonna make the pink version of it.
So I would go toward more, the blue, I guess. I'm just a beginner, so I'm just.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Because, like, if I go the other direction, what's the other direction? It's red.
Yeah.
So red is definitely not as cool as blue. So then, of course, I got to do this. I got to turn down my saturation because that's what happened over here, right? Saturation started to disappear, and I had a darker tone. So now, when I use this, what's going to happen now? Like, oh shoot, that looks really like blue to me, you know what I mean? Like bluish green. Like, wow, that's so cool. And I'm not using a blue green. So then you could start to think about, okay, then the land, how does that work, and so on and so forth. And now you're having some real fun with studying, and you're learning a ton, because now you're learning the situation where, like, you have this very saturated sky, and things as they approach us are getting less saturated, right, and darker. Now this is only one situation out of like a billion situations, though. Right? But now it's yours, and now you can mess with that and use it however you want, which is super cool.
It's great. Like it's just like I'm listening to your advice on your Zoom, but like I'm building my like visual like library. to
Uh-huh.
being to doing like this copy and painting. And even if you stop doing the stream, I think I will still keep this habit, which is choose one really great painting or photos and just do that. Like,
Yeah, totally. And it's free, right? Anybody could do this with no money. You could go and do this, and you could just start asking yourself questions, start exploring. That's what, like, that's how I study art, and that's something that everybody can do. It's so awesome. Um, yeah.
yeah, it's really good. Thank you. Like, you're really inspiring. Like,
Oh, you're
I
very
would say,
encouraging, so thank you.
yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. You too.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So I also see Charlene there.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Charlene.
Um, I just wanted to ask two questions.
Sure.
One of them is when do the tickets for the Lightbox online go on sale?
So that will go on sale in August, I'm assuming.
Ah,
Yeah, because you don't have to book a flight and things like that.
mm.
We were like, it should be a lot closer to the event.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited because I'm from Australia, so I won't be able to participate otherwise.
Oh, well, hey, that's, with every bad thing that happens, there's good things out of it, I guess, and this is a really great thing. Also,
Mm.
um, it's like people all over the world, there's lots of them that can't make it right to the actual live
Mm.
event. Even if they have all the means, perhaps
Mm.
it's something like their country or something, like Iran will have anybody in Iran, they're going through a lot and they have no way of really, well, it's very difficult from what I hear to come
Yeah,
to.
I saw the last week's conversation about ArtStation, and people from Iran can't even participate in the competitions.
Yes, yes, but they will be able to come if you can see this,
Mm.
right now on YouTube or whatever, then you can come to Lightbox Expo. And it's gonna be we're putting in a lot of work, and if you've been to any other online event, I could tell you this is different. It's very different.
Mm.
Yeah, it'd be very cool. And
Cool.
I'll let everybody know a lot more as we get closer to the actual date.
Mm-hmm. I guess my second question is about master studies and what you study
Yes.
um, when you do a master study. So I know in this one you're mainly kind of looking at color.
Yes.
I guess other questions are what else do you study or like composition?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let me bring out some stuff here. Just give me 1 second. Um, I'll grab a couple of these things.
Yeah, I notice my composition's a bit off and not very satisfying when I do my own pieces.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
if you have a Schoolism subscription, there's a whole class by Nathan Fowkes on composition, which is pretty awesome. Um, but otherwise, it's just really about leading the eye, you know?
Yeah. I know the basics about like I guess flow and rule of thirds, but yeah, I was just hoping
Hmm.
to figure out more to it than that.
So let me show you some examples here. Here's
Cool.
one of the studies that we did. It's not necessarily a master study, right? It's a
Hmm.
photograph um, by Jason Leung. And so no, I didn't do that from that photograph, but I did this,
That's adorable.
right? And look how different it is. The only thing I really kept with
Mm,
was the stick.
yeah.
And so this was just about riffing off of um, this, and like how can I change that, what can we do from
Hmm.
this, how can we make something inspired by this. And sometimes really that's all you need. It's just a
Hmm.
starting point. I've the worst kind of projects for me is like when I'm on a project and they go, I don't know, it's very blue sky right now. We know we want a turtle. You know, like, okay, where do I go from there? Is this turtle old or young? Maybe. Those kind of things. Here's another kind of example here, right? There's a little, I called it like the bread thief or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was inspired by Westworld and this lighting, this contrast of having like these really bright brights, along with, these darker tones that are still nicely saturated. I really want to explore that, right? And this whole
It is
idea.
nice backlighting.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's just having a clear idea in mind and not just trying to go through the steps like a robot. Okay, now I have to study. Bobby said I gotta study, and I'm gonna study, right? And what are you studying though? I don't know. So yeah, just have a focus, and you'll do great.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome. All right, before I hand anybody else the mic, I'm just going to answer a Slido question since I told everybody Slido and everything. So this is from Anonymous. How do you decide on a personal project? Break it down into manageable chunks and stick with it. Are there anything you would avoid doing? Wow, that's actually, I think that's a pretty darn good question. So how do you decide on a personal project? What are the questions that go through my head? Do I have enough space? Do I have a big enough runway in my schedule to be able to do this? And if that's a go, then how will my life change if this is successful? Is it going to be positive? Is it going to be negative? And how positive, how negative? What are the chances of it succeeding? And how much do I love it? That's one of the biggest ones, right? Because love can really bring you a long way when nobody's paying you nothing and you're still painting and drawing forever. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes the smallest changes can also make the biggest differences. So scheduling that personal project, that becomes a huge thing too. How you think about that personal project. So are you thinking about it in terms of like the grand scope of things and then that's it? Because if you do, you can be overwhelmed very easily. I tend to think about both. I tend to think about the grand scheme of things. Okay, I want to build an online school, or I want to create a TV show. Then I start thinking about the micro chunks. What would be first? Well, the first thing is taking some time to get inspired, So maybe put into the schedule an hour. I'm just thinking, exploring, and even if I have a good idea, I'm going to keep exploring and come up with a few good ideas, right? And then to stick with it, that it's really all about routine. We're creatures of habit, so as long as we can make it one of our habits, then it'll be locked in. And it just gets way easier after that. And like I was saying before, sometimes the ability to forget or block out other things is just as important as the ability to remember or to concentrate. So once you make that decision, block out everything else, forget everything else, and just concentrate. It's nothing works harder than or works better than persistent hard work and common sense. What else is there? Oh, another big one is you don't stick to that initial plan. You know, that plan is kind of like a compass. It's kind of like a guideline. But if the compass says, okay, this way is north, and you see a giant wall there, you don't go through the wall. You go around the wall, and when you can start heading north again, you start heading north again. Right? And that's life. Things will happen all the time. So I also take that into consideration, and how would I bounce back from that and get back on track. That's going to be a big thing as well. Let me give some more people the mic over here. I see 3 more people here in Zoom. Hey y'all. Shu Hen
Hello?
Lee. Hello.
Hey.
Sorry.
Remind you go first.
Yeah, Sophia, why don't you go first? Hi, Sophia.
Okay. Hi, how are you?
Good. Where are you from?
Costa Rica.
Oh, fantastic. Right on.
Do you have any tips for create a TV show? Like what to do or not, or what not to do? It's because I want to create a TV show.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yo, and by the way, everybody, this Friday is the daytime Emmys. Nico and the Sword of Light, my TV show, is nominated for Best Children's Programming of 2020. So, or I don't know. It's the 2020 Emmys, but I guess it's for last year.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
yeah, wish me luck. Wish me luck. So when I think about a TV show, one thing, of course, is trying to put your head into that space of your target audience. How old are they? Where they live? What everything about them, and then what is the overall feeling that you want them to have? Is this an adventure show? Is this a learning kind of show? Is this a whatever show? And then from there, I just obviously you come up with the story. I want to give you guys more than just that. So there's many different ways to do it, okay? And how I did it was we put it out as an iPad app at first. That was the goal. And the goal actually was not to create a best-selling app, but the goal was to create a TV show or movie. Okay, that's number one. So that's my big overarching goal, right? And along the way, it's like, oh, well, ebooks, that's not happening yet. It wasn't around just yet, I don't think, or it wasn't popular at least. So then we made an app. That app did really well. It sold really well, became #1 in over 30 countries in its category. So then we had way more to kind of bargain with, with the various studios and such, because we already had this audience. And the audience, it's like a lot of them are professional artists. So we have that sector that's really liking this thing. And then we had a whole nother sector, which was the tech sector, because this was the first fully animated iPad app. There's another one that was wonderful by Ryan Woodward, where it's about baseball, but that was a lot more flash animation, and ours was like 2D drawn, and sound, music, everything. And so a lot of the tech community latched onto it as well, and that was on purpose, right? Because if you can imagine, you are an executive, you're looking at products or IPs, intellectual property stories, and going, what about this story? What about that story? Oh, this story, wow, it hit #1 in the App Store. Wow, it has this many views, this many downloads, this many people. They don't know that it's like, well, yeah, they have this many views, this many people, because Well, hopefully because it's a good story, but also because the tech sector is really interested in this. The 2D enthusiasts, 2D animation enthusiasts are also interested in this because it's traditional animation again and people missed it, right? So it's like thinking about the overarching goal. I wanted to put it out there. We wanted to have a fan base first. And thinking about, well, how do we make that happen? That was a big thing. You know what I mean? Because to think about it in terms of like, oh, well, let's get the tech community behind this. Well, let's do it this way so that the tech community can be behind it. And then let's do it this way with traditional animation so that the traditional animators kind of community will get behind it as well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's, you know, it's like you're really trying to figure the best way into this with a very kind of creative way of thinking about it, I guess. I think that's the best way I can kind of describe it. The built-in audience was a huge thing for us, guaranteed, because it's the proof that this thing will work. And then, you know, we've only had 2 seasons, and season 1 already won the Emmy. So season 2, here we go, Friday. All right, thanks very much for your question.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else?
Hey, Bobby.
Hi, what's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Shu Hong from Singapore.
Oh, hi, Shuhong. Yeah, you called in before, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good to hear from you again.
I was just wondering, previously you mentioned to study from life. What's the difference between studying from life and, for example, a photo?
Yes. A camera controls the exposure. When you're studying from life, you're not adjusting the exposure, right? You have to do that yourself. Like, it's not automatic. You have to look at things and decide what kind of exposure do you want. And when you look into darker areas, you know, in a bright environment, you look in darker areas, all of a sudden you start to focus, you start to see more stuff, right? It's almost like the exposure is starting to change in your retina. And then you go outside into bright, you know, blue sky and everything, and you look around, you're almost squinting because you're starting to adjust again, and you slowly adjust. When you're painting from life, you have to make these exposure decisions, and that's actually a very, very good skill to have, because then all of a sudden you don't have to stick to those photographs, right? You could study a photograph, or perhaps the art director gives you a bunch of photographs for reference and goes, kind of like this, but also like this, and maybe change it, like, you know, into this. Now you could do that because you know how to control the exposure. But then again, there's still a lot of really great things that you can learn from studying photographs. I do both, right? And study from other artists, and then also doing your own stuff. Those are the 4 major food groups for elevating your art, for really evolving on a rapid pace, right? Studying from life, photographs, artists, other artists, and yourself. Because art is an interpretation of life, so we want to go to the source. Photographs is a still image interpretation of life with controlled exposure, so we want to go to that. Artists, they have their own unique interpretations of some sort of aspect of life, whatever the heck they're making. Even abstract artists still will draw from life, give you a feeling that might be familiar and things like that. And then, of course, at the very end, you want to be the creator of life, right? So you start doing your own stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Excellent. And I see Nora patiently waiting.
Yes, hi. Do you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Nora.
Hi. Hi. Can I, before I ask my questions, can I just add to this previous questions about starting from life? My biggest problem, not problem, but the biggest challenge for me is rather because the composition is already given to you in the picture, and it's also translated already from 3D into 2D. And we do see in 3D. So then to translate this on a paper or on the screen, I think this is also quite a big challenge. So yes, starting from life is awesome.
Totally.
Okay. Sorry. My question is about schoolism. I lost my job, so I cannot really afford more than a month. And I was wondering, how does it work? So can I squeeze an entire course into this month, or do I have to do all of those 8 weeks as in the description?
Oh, the 8 weeks, that's suggested. You know, you could do a lesson a day and finish that in 8 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, everything is open to you, you know.
Okay, so when I book a month, practically I can choose a course, and then how far I come, it's up to me.
Yeah, you could just like hold those eyeballs open for the month, you know, just absorb everything.
Yeah, okay. Okay, awesome. And can I ask you a second question? Since I'm not 16, like most of the people here, so I do not have a lot of time.
I think that was a very rare case. Most people are
Yes.
professionals.
Well, I had another profession before I just lost my job, and I thought like, okay, you know what? I lost my job. I don't have any income, but I will use this time to do what I actually want to do, and this is to be an artist. So my time is of course limited. So I practically have just a few months before, you know, I would like to find a job before that, so I don't need to go back to something that I don't like doing. So my question is, what would you suggest for someone who's already older and is competing against artists who are either very young or artists who are the same age but have very much more experience than me?
Well, everybody, I really truly feel everybody has their own advantages, no matter what they might feel their situation is. You know, sometimes you think, I've heard it a lot the other way. Oh, I'm young. Nobody will trust me. I look like a baby, you know, and I don't have any years in the industry. And then I just go to them, well, you're the target audience, or you're a lot closer to the target audience than all those other people that are older. You can still remember when you're 8 years old and what it was like and things like that. So, you know, explore that. With you, yes, you're older and more mature, and you know better. You know how to. It's like the older we get, the better we are at using our time generally, right?
True.
The time is wasted on the youth. So that's a great thing as well. If I know that I could trust somebody to, you know, especially now, like work when I'm not there because we're all in quarantine, that becomes a big thing. If you're younger, I might be a little bit more hesitant because just in general, you know, in general anyways, there's a lot of very responsible young adults, but in general, younger people, they have less self-control sometimes. And this is a very general statement, so I don't need no hate about it in the comments, okay? You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and so we could explore your art right now. I could put it on screen and we could talk about it if you like,
Oh
but
gosh,
no pressure.
seriously?
No pressure.
Okay, I'll dare to do that.
Okay.
I'm not very far. Just started with all this digital painting. Before that, I was doing just conventional stuff. So I can give you my...
Are you Panda's creation station? No, right?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that crazy? I actually had this on screen. Let me, I have this
Really?
on screen right now. Yeah, yeah. So here we go. Here's Nora's stuff, everybody. Okay, so Panda's creation station. This is great. This is so cool. You can see that the process that you took.
Yeah, I have a little bit of different process than you, but I'm sure it's fine.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting. So yeah, for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm like, that whole entire thing of things get less saturated as they approach the foreground. That's what I would have did with this. I would have made this character much less saturated, just because that's how it kind of felt as we were exploring the trees in the back to the trees in the front. Everything was getting less saturated. And right now, your tones are quite saturated. Now, beyond this, what I want to talk about is the feeling that you get from this. The feeling that I get from this is like a, aw, kind of feeling. You know what I mean? Like you seen something cute. Now, how much do I feel this though? I have a scale of 1 to 100. I probably feel it more like 70. How do we get it to 100? Because if you get it to 100, then everybody will start noticing. Everybody will start to go, aw, and then they'll all share it with their friends because that's what happens. Right? And that's what you're going to be looking for in your stuff.
Okay.
Oh, this is the other stuff here. So, and of course, like, this is my own way of like how I think about my own branding and how I get jobs and how I present stuff. So everything is like, generally everything that I do, I'm starting off with what is the feeling that I want people to get. This right here, I feel like the feeling that you could get from this, not to say that you're aiming for this, but what you could get from this is an awe-inspiring feeling. Like, wow. And what would take you to that level? It would be better lighting for your photo. That's number one. Number two is really beautiful rendering of this. That's what I would assume. Now, I'm coming to these conclusions just by thinking about the overall impact that somebody would get from looking at that, and how can we push it? Is that what the person, the artist, you, is going for? So this one, what is the feeling that we're trying to get from this? Unsure. This one, probably same thing. A little unsure of what we're trying to get the audience to feel.
Yeah.
So that's what I would start off with. Number one, this one feels like it should be funny. This is a funny illustration.
This is me. This is how I look like.
That's funny. Okay, so if I knew you, that's hilarious. Okay, see, that makes a lot more sense. If it was a split screen, that would probably be how I would present it, because that adds to that overall outcome that you wanted of people laughing.
Yeah.
But currently, how it's presented, it's like only people that know you, Nora, would laugh, right?
True.
Yeah, so all of these things, I think, start off with that initial, what is the feeling? What's the emotional impact? Because that's what we're going for with any piece of art ever. A comic book, a movie, a song, anything. We're trying to make people feel stuff. Start off with that, because that is the ultimate goal. And then point all of your technical skills, all of your resources, all of your everything that you're doing towards that feeling. And then think to yourself, if I didn't know myself, I'm just looking at this art, would I feel this? Okay, what's missing? How do I turn it up? How do I turn it down? How do I get it just right? And that's how you kind of determine it.
Yeah, makes sense. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for your question.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
My pleasure. Yeah, and I'm also going to share, since I'm on here for everybody, I also want to share the other wonderful submissions. There's a lot. Now there's over 1,000, way over 1,000 submissions for the 90-minute artist challenge. This was the very first one, by the way, everybody. This is the very first artist 90-minute art challenge. And then this one is from today. Neat. This one was from last week, I believe. Lovely. Sophia Gomez, a little miniature one. This one's really cute. I like the depth of field. Makes her feel even more miniature. Great practice. So everybody's getting into it. It's awesome. And I've been seeing the improvement too, which is awesome. This is, wow, what a cool study this one is, huh? And then look at this person. Oh my gosh. Nazar. Check out some Nazar paintings. Wow, look at that. Great job. Another daily study from photo. That was one of the 90-minute art challenges. Really great work. I remember this one. Cool. Very cool. And then last but not least, this one was from the Sargent study. Hilarious. Sargent combined with Ghost in the Shell. All right. So any other questions in the chat there? If you want a mic, just raise your hand. I'll give you a mic. Right now, I just want to answer one of the questions that are coming in from the Zoom audience here. Okay, so let's see. Is Craig Mullins' digital painting lessons more like advanced digital painting? Yes. He is the top of the mountain as far as I'm concerned. Every time I talk to the Godfather, Craig Mullins, I'm just like about to explode with the thoughts, the knowledge that's rolling around that he just casually just drops on you. It's amazing. It's very high level. It's very good. And cool. Let me just get rid of that question there. Get rid of that question there. And I'll do one more from Slido. Okay, so this one says, I was wondering, how do you bring an emotional component to your artwork? It's kind of like cooking, you know? How do you want a person to feel? Well, if it's scary, okay, well, what are they scared about? What kind of lighting will make it more scary? And you just start putting it all in there and practicing looking at stuff from another person's point of view. That's why empathy is so powerful, you know, and it's like one of the most powerful skills you can ever get, because that's what empathy is. Looking at it from somebody else's point of view, feeling what they feel. This not just helps you with art, but it helps you become a better person too, doesn't it? You see somebody struggle, you can feel what they feel and you can empathize with them. Talking with your parents, perhaps some of the people that call, they're like, my parents, they don't get it. They don't understand why I'm doing this stuff. Well, you could also use this to empathize with them and to see their struggle and see them trying to raise you and everything. And now they're concerned about you, right? And they might not think that you have the best answer, but maybe you do. And just trying to empathize with them and understand them, because once you understand them, then they're going to be willing to listen to you, right? And listen to your thoughts and your opinions. If they don't feel like, and this is for anybody, if the client doesn't feel like you totally understand them yet, how can you pitch them anything? All right.
If I can just ask a follow-up?
Yeah, sure.
By what you say, so it's basically for you, is it more like stepping out of your own head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. And practicing that, right? Because it doesn't just help. That's one of the most powerful ways to think, is stepping out of your own head, trying to empathize with other people, really trying to connect with other points of views, right? Because it doesn't just help in everyday life. It doesn't just help with your art. It helps with literally everything. When you're looking at your painting and you're going, what, is this painting a good painting? Is this a painting that people will like? Those might mean two different things. Because a good painting to you, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a painting that people want to hang up on their walls. I was looking at this beautiful painting that was done, and it was here, I will do split screen because this was kind of interesting to me. Oops, what did I just do there? Okay, let me split my screen. Okay, so the painting that I saw, this looked like this. It was a big bunny sitting on, and it's beautiful. I love the artist. Sitting on grass, and it's just more grass and more grass. It's an interesting composition. Looked very cool. Would I buy this painting? No, I wouldn't. Because I feel like, even though I like the painting, I'm not a bunny person to that extent. You know what I mean? Imagine this hang on your wall. It's a giant bunny, right? And so tapping into that other point of view, if I was the artist, and of course, this is just my own kind of take, but I probably would have made that bunny way smaller. So it's more about the interesting grass and landscape, and the bunny is just a little cherry on the top. Right? And then that makes me feel like I don't need to be as much of a bunny person to buy this painting.
Oh, I see what you mean. So it's less
thinking about it from another point of view, not just from your point of view, right? Thinking about it from, okay, the buyer's point of view. I'm walking into a gallery, I look at the thing, I think it looks good, but I'm not gonna buy it. Why aren't you gonna buy it? Right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's hard when it comes to your own work. It's hard to be and to split yourself into two people, like yourself that is engaged with the painting itself, and the other side that is coming from a stranger point of view.
Totally.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And actually, everybody, I gotta run, but just to let you know, I am doing the portfolio review on Thursday. It will be my last one for a while, so get those portfolios in. Hashtag Schoolism portfolio, and you can register for that and join me on Zoom. And the other thing that I mentioned, Ian McKegg's class is starting on Monday. Not this Monday, next Monday. All right, just to let you all know. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. I had a really great time. It was really, really fun. I hope you guys do too, and have a wonderful, wonderful, rest of your day. Take care.